this is Jane Douglas for GameSpot UK. We're here with Ian Milham, art director on Dead Space 2, and we're going to talk specifically about multiplayer, if that's okay.
Sure.
What have you got here that's new today?
Well, the whole multiplayer is new. So we're debuting it for the first time where people can get their hands on it and showing people what multiplayer in the Dead Space universe is all about.
Okay, we're looking, we just played on the solar array map. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the idea there is, so you can play in Dead Space multiplayer as both humans, the Sprawl security team, and as Necromorphs. So on the solar array map, the idea is the humans have to get these codes, like this like basically a briefcase of codes, to the solar array to deliver the coordinates so it can go off, and the Necromorphs are trying to stop them.
Okay, like you say, you can play as humans and Necromorphs,
Yeah.
and the Necromorphs have their classes, they have their species or whatever. Tell us about the classes.
Well, it's funny, when we kicked off Dead Space 2 multiplayer, I think a few people were sort of, wait a second, games like Battlefield and Medal of Honor, they exist already. There's great multiplayer games out there. I know Dead Space from single player, like what's going on? And our response has been, well, can you play a demon baby in Battlefield? No, you cannot, right? This is a new, fun, sort of gruesome, up-close, different experience. It's just a fun thing. So we knew that the real juice of our multiplayer, like what we were going to offer, was in all the different strategies that you can employ as a Necromorph. So you can play as 4 different ones. There's the pack. They're sort of little and operate in numbers, and they sort of jump out of nowhere and grab the humans. There's the lurker, which can skitter along the walls and the ceilings and use like a ranged attack. And then there's the spitter and the puker. You can probably imagine what they're capable of, but they're sort of larger humanoid ones.
And they've got execution type attacks. You're calling them, I can't remember what they're called now, paired attacks?
Well, part of the fun of being a Necromorph, this isn't multiplayer through a sniper scope where it's like off in the distance and bing, and you get them and it's all done. This is personal and up close and sort of gruesome. So yeah, both sides are capable of some pretty tough stuff up close.
Okay, and tell us how you spawn in as a Necromorph, and also you've got AA support, is that right?
Yeah. The Necromorph side is augmented with all kinds of different ones. But part of the fun as a Necromorph is in Limbo, you can sort of fly around and travel through the vents of the system. There's a whole nother sort of meta level that you can go around and choose where to come from. So if you're planning to drop from the ceiling or be scary and sort of come from the side or do whatever, you can choose your own spawn point.
Okay, and you can't have multiplayer without progression these days. How is progression going to work in Dead Space 2 multiplayer?
Well, people love to be rewarded for their investment. So on both sides, you're going to unlock abilities and weapons as you play.
Okay, all right, fine. How many maps you got, and where are they set? Are they something you'll recognize from single player, or are they unique?
Well, we got 5 different objective-based maps, and the objectives in each map are different. And I really hate it you see some games that have a multiplayer mode, and you look at it and you go, that's just a single-player map with some doors closed, and come on. So our maps are new areas of the Sprawl that only exist in multiplayer. They have a relationship, usually, to some place you'll see in single player, but it's not the same geometry.
Are you happy to sacrifice horror in Dead Space 2 multiplayer, or do you see it still can be a scary experience when you're playing with other people?
Well, this has probably been my favorite thing that's happened as we've rolled out multiplayer to more and more people. Because a lot of people have asked that. They've been like, well, Dead Space is kind of a scary game. Like, multiplayer's not going to be scary. But what's been really cool is to see how in Dead Space 2 multiplayer, the scary stuff is coming from the other players. Because when you're playing as a Necromorph, the strategies don't work if you don't do things that turn out to be scary. So it's been really gratifying, and we haven't had to sacrifice anything.
Okay, fantastic. And the maps we've been playing, they've been very up close. Is that true of all of the maps, or are there some a little more open?
Well, we try to have a variety of experience. So they do some have larger, more open rooms, and then more sort of tighter spaces where they're forced to go through. So we try to throw a variety.
All right, last, how does it fit into the story? Are you happy to have it as 2 like standalone elements, or do they kind of mesh somehow?
Well, it was key for us that you want someone to be able to play either the multiplayer or the single player and not feel like they didn't do their homework or that they don't get it because they didn't do the other side or something like that. So we're trying to strike a balance. There are relationships, and I think for someone who has spent a lot of time in one mode, when they see the other mode, there'll be stuff that makes them go, oh, okay, I get it. They'll see connective tissue and a little bit of interesting stuff going on, but not so much that if you haven't unlocked this, then suddenly you're behind in multiplayer or it's aggravating or something like that. It's all bonus.
Amazing. Okay, I love connective tissue, right? Okay, so what's the name of the game again, platforms, and when are you expecting it out?
It's going to be Dead Space 2. Comes out January 28th next year, and it's going to be on the Xbox, the PS3, and the PC.
That's great, Ian. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.